FM. My name is Lexis Bill, and this evening I have a very, very great conversation for you. Yep. Just so you know, we're live on our Facebook page as well. So if you're listening to us on radio and you want to check out a live video, you can get onto our Facebook page, Joy 99.7 FM, and share the video. You can share the link as well in your WhatsApp groups and let your friends and family also tune in because there's a very interesting conversation coming up in the next hour. Yeah. Sit back, relax, and let's do this. I've got a great brother in the studio. He's doing amazing stuff in the world of tech and business. Yeah. He's a consummate technology solutions architect with over 22 years industry experience spanning telecoms, FMCG, banking, and financial services. And he's reputed for leading transformational technology strategies and projects. He actually was the head of technology for UT Bank for 10 years, leading the bank's technology strategy development and implementation from unique trust financial services through growth expansions into other industries, including insurance, real estate, logistics, and haulage. Now, prior to joining UT, though, he worked with Unilever Ghana Limited as manager of IT applications development. Somewhere in 2019, he was recognized as one of the top 200 CIOs of 2019 at the second edition of the World CIO 200 Summit and entered into the prestigious Book of Titans, the Bots, a special yearbook to celebrate the success of the top 200 CIOs in the world at the World CIO Summit held in the UAE. Yeah. Now listen, on 26th of November, our sister station, Hits FM, will be hosting the big one, the Hits FM Schools reunion at the Elwak Sports Stadium. And one of our sponsors and partners is the premier multi-channel distributions technology and mobile payments company in Ghana, Koba. Yeah. My guest tonight is the founder and CEO of Koba, Nelson Koshi Dasegla. Is that how you say it?
That's right. Nelson Koshi.
Welcome, bro. How are you?
Thank you very much, Lexis.
Nice.
How are
Really
you
good.
too?
Oh, I'm great. I'm
Good.
great. Good to see you.
Yeah,
I think
it's been a while.
the last time I saw you, your team were at the CSR Park facilitating the President's Cup of the Honorables Club.
Yes,
And
for which I was the match commissioner.
a match commissioner as well. And you guys did a very good job. I'm sure the president and Stoke and the other guys really appreciate all your efforts in making it happen.
Well, that's what we try to do. That's you need to keep yourself in a community and be there for each other.
Yeah.
Life is about being there for each other, and you rise by holding other people up. So supporting in a little way that we can.
Absolutely. Let me say hello to the Honorable President David Boafo and his crew. But anyway, I'm excited that you're here today because I followed the brand and I've seen it grow, and it's at that point that look, we need to tell the story. And of course, your professional journey as well. It's been amazing. But before we actually even get into your life, I'm sure these are exciting times for you because the fourth industrial revolution has introduced disruptive technologies, AI, VR, Internet of Things, and whatnot. So your space is quite exciting now, would you say?
Well, it is life that is evolving, and we've moved from the the ancient of days where people were foragers and all the like, and we are moving into technology as a new way of life. We are just at the beginning of what we are yet to see, but it's already exciting. And when you look in and project what is going to happen or foresee what is going to happen, you would not like to be anywhere else but to be here to see it happen. Yeah. But it's interesting, and I think we tag along quickly, we run along with the technology so that we don't even make ourselves irrelevant at a point in time. So that's what we're trying to do within the space, to be able to establish and keep along with where the world is heading. Yeah.
Good stuff. And you've mostly been big on the back end of technology, haven't you? Now you are a business owner. You're the man who's placing things where they're supposed to be, as compared to when you were probably figuring the technology itself out. Which part of these devices do you enjoy more?
The back door has always been the best. Trying to, as an architect, it's works easier when you have to sit back and look at what is happening and building technologies and designing stuff and
Yeah.
making sure that things work. But at a certain point, you also need to go to the fore to make sure that what you are building from the back is also being accepted and taken up.
Yeah.
And being sometimes even better understood, because sometimes the story can only be told better than by the person who is actually writing the story. So
Yeah.
it's a new space for me, but I think it's let me say it's panning out quite nicely. Panning out quite nicely.
To be honest, you sound like you actually prefer going back to the back end.
Well, it's nice. It's very often when sometimes you are at the back and you step out and you see how much you've done and how much it's touched the lives of people,
Yeah.
and influenced the way people do things. It's nice, but I think the story now at this stage in our lives is better to be the storyteller, or the storytellers also step forward a bit to really explain and lead the way towards where we are headed.
Is being an entrepreneur a challenging thing?
Especially in Ghana, it's like a suicide mission.
Whoa. And I'm sure this is you being nice with your words.
Well, yes. I think the best way I can describe it is being a suicide mission. It's a tough terrain. There's so much to deal with. We live especially in our space in Ghana, in Africa, where you virtually have to build everything yourself. So you stretch yourself beyond what the original plan is to be able to get through with what you have to do. But the other thing is also that it also grows you quickly. You mature quickly. It gives you the ability to understand how things are done and done well, and so you can actually carry through if you really mean what you really up to. It can easily get you can easily get distracted by the various things that will have to cross your path for you to resolve to be able to see your dreams and your vision fulfilled. But at the end of the day, despite the fact that I said it's a suicide mission, I don't regret it. I think it's one of the best things that I've done for myself. Yeah.
Okay, let's get to the beginnings. Let's get to meet you. Let's get to know you. First thing I really want to find out is the bit about your name.
Yes.
Nelson Koshi Segla is fine, but there's the Segla.
Yes.
Where's it from?
Okay, so I'm 150% Anglo. Nelson is Nelson. Koshi is Kwesi in Anglo, or in Ewa we say Koshi. Da is fourth son. And so in the family, first is we have some Ga Adangbe lineage, and so there's Tete Te, and then there's Da. Da is actually supposed to be Na, but I'm told it's been corrupted to be Da, and so the fourth son is Da. So when I call my name Da Segla, it's like somebody saying Tete or Te or Te or whatever. It's nothing out of this world. Yeah. So Nelson Da Segla is Nelson fourth son Segla.
Oh right. I actually thought you were like Caribbean.
Oh come on! It's actually the reason I dropped. I'm putting a lot of effort to drop the Nelson. So
okay.
So it's very often you hear people call me Koshi just to make sure that I'm Ghanaian. I don't come from anywhere. Yeah. But right, you're right. A few people see their name and think it's from elsewhere. But it's come from Anglo-Gansechino.
Wow, that's nice. You're an interesting breed. Put it that way.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and where did you grow up? Were you born?
I was born in Accra. I went through primary school, preparatory school, New Hope School, Latebia Okoshi.
Okay.
Proceeded to Mauli School, where I did from Form 1 in the old system.
I actually
so Form 1
saw a comment on our Facebook page that you're Maulian.
Yes, I'm Maulian.
Yeah.
So Mauli School, Form 1 to App 6. From there, went to Legon.
Okay, hold
And
on.
so,
You're moving a little too fast. How was growing up? What were your what was your childhood like?
do I say roller coaster of turbulence? Because it's a mixed bag of so many things. Started well, born into an okay family by Ghanaian standards, and so through preparatory school was okay.
What were your parents doing?
My dad was a lawyer. He's passed. My dad was. My mom was with the Ministry of Agric. She was in charge of the Directorate for Import Licensing,
Okay.
and so that's how life started with my family. But at a certain point, my parents. That's when the journey really started. My parents had to go into exile when I was 14.
Exile.
Yeah, and so that's when the real journey started. Unfortunately, because of the dispensation around that time.
How was your how were your parents linked in any way?
Well, my dad in the late 80s was the Volta regional minister, and so of course political issues and things, and he got into some trouble, so they had to go into exile. I was 14 years, and so of course because of the dispensation, it was also difficult for anybody to take you in. So especially from 14 years, I had to take care of myself. I had to live alone. I decided when to go to bed, decided when to wake up, decided when to go to school, and all. And so I started deciding for myself quite early, without guidance from anyone, or should I say remote guidance, because my parents were they're out there and had to. Most of the lessons had to be taught over phone and all the like.
What
So I had
what
to grow up early.
okay, what was the conversation like before your parents went into exile?
Well, the conversation was more of a naughty, hyperactive son who was jumping all over the place, and
No, I'm actually talking about it from your parents' perspective. When all the turmoil was happening, the
well,
political
unfortunately,
issues.
when they had to leave, actually, I was even in school. And so, and of course, the hotspot was Ho, because he was Volta Regional Minister. My only school is in Ho, so it was a hotspot. So I didn't get to see them before they left.
Do you know where they were going?
I didn't know. And so it was when I came back around Christmas that I got to know that they were in the UK. They had returned to the UK at a certain point. So life had to start around that stage. And of course, I had to live with an auntie. Virtually, I was actually my dad's poster boy. So virtually everybody knew me in association with my dad. So once you couldn't be found, all attention was on me. So you are home and there's BNI and all those kind of things packed around the house, and the monitoring everything, lines were tapped and all those kind of things. And so it's actually made my auntie I was living with quite uncomfortable. So she had to make the decision, and I had to find somewhere to live where she also. Around that time, it felt like a bad decision, a wicked decision. But again, I'm grown now, and I look back at it and realize that she also had to protect her family.
Her family, yeah.
And so, yeah, so that's how I started. I remember
So
at a certain point.
where did you go?
Well, I had to leave Tema and go to, Arena, Katamanto.
Katamanto.
Yes, my grandmom had a house there, and so that was where I took refuge. And so I settled there. Beautiful people. They were very protective. They may not be that high in social stature, but they were loving people, and they circled around me, made sure I was safe, made sure there were people I didn't know, but or didn't know well, because we just would go there, pass by and everything. But they took me on. I got a new family. Unfortunately, one of my best mentors and friends, we used to call him Rainbow, passed in 2002. I had this lady who was next door, Susie Aite, took me on as a mother. Would make sure every now and then, once she had food, invite me to also have a bite. Make sure I was just okay.
Yeah.
But most of it, again, had to depend on me to make sure that I did the right things. I remember when my mom was leaving, when we finally spoke in December, just said, Koshi, we are no more. There's no one here to protect you anymore. So you need to be very careful. Your adventures and your all your naughtiness, you need to look at it very well, because when you get into trouble, there will be nobody to protect you. And so it's rang a bell went deep in, and I had to be very careful this time. So it's that stage in my life shaped my life very much. I had to be careful. Need to protect myself, need to be careful with even who I associated with, because hey, now you're a son of a dissident, and when the average person gets into trouble and you are part of that trouble, you'll be treated differently. So you have to be very careful. The toughest was in school, actually, because all of a sudden you need to live against the odds. From a big man's son to a dissident son, and so people looked at you oddly. People who normally would have been your friends were looking at you at certain points. Even I got attacked by peers and mates for whatever reason they had. But so I had to go through all of that, protect myself, make sure I did the right things. Thankfully, I had some super teachers also who were looking out for me. Mr. Kitiku, we used to call him Warm Up. The headmaster and all those kind of things at a certain point in time stood in for me. And so there were, should I call them guardian angels, who protected me, Castro Kodo and all those guys who protected me, or every once in a while will come around to make sure that I was fine. And so that's how the growing was. So through secondary school, I didn't see my parents until I finished university in 2000. Yeah, so the whole teenage period had to be by myself and learn the ropes myself.
What kind of lessons fortified you for that journey?
Well, I think the biggest was what my mom told me, and it was just a mix of so many things, but I think it was also got to do with being determined to defy the odds at any point in time. I had a focus on what I wanted to be, and so I turned into reading and reading all manner of things, anything that came my way, of course. Very often I could go 2 weeks without even seeing the sun, just indoors to not those days that we have TV that you could watch 24 hours. TV will come on around 5 o'clock and go off around 12. So then you had to find things to do. Played football, got into a lot of sports and everything to keep me in shape and out of trouble. And it was also a period where I also learned to trust people, but also be careful of people. A few times, again, that was a period where we didn't have money transfer. So if they had to give money if you had to send you money, they had to give it to someone to bring. Very often, you have people, and I brought, and the money fell off my jacket and all the like. So what it means is that then you are going to be hungry until the next cycle, or you have to find some jobs to do. At a certain point, had to sell scrap metal to be able to survive and all those kind of things. Yeah. But I think in the midst of all of it, I just believe that it was purpose for my own growth. And so I quickly had to switch from that playful, unserious, naughty, hyperactive guy to start building seriousness and grow up quickly. And so I started making decisions quite early in life. And I think that's the biggest, for me, the biggest lesson, to weigh in very well before you jump.
With the benefit of hindsight, would you have wished for a different kind of upbringing?
Hindsight today, no. Because all the lessons and all the things I went through are the things that are coming to play today. The challenges I faced growing up around those times are the things that are holding me up today to chart the new waters. And so it could have been sweeter, but I think what I went through has become the foundation and the basis for where I'm headed today, and what I'm doing, and the ability to be persistent, to continue working, defy the odds, work against the odds, and be able to push through no matter how difficult the situation is. So I would say no.
Okay.
No, I'll say no.
At the time, was there a certain profession that you wanted to be in?
As for the profession, they were a lot. My dad had agenda for me. Of course, we'll talk about that. I know
Agenda.
at a certain point,
I'm
he you know, we had quite a relationship that we used to argue a lot. He would be the type that would put a topic on the table for us to discuss and argue, and he thought my line of argument and everything was I would have been good to be a lawyer. And so, of course, because he was a lawyer himself, he started piling his lawyer pressure on me and lawyer books and all those kind of things. Meanwhile, the young man, Charlie, he had his own ideas. But the other bit was also that I was more of a mathematical and science person than the literature person. So, up to now, I still struggle to remember Bible verses and all the like, and so it didn't work out well for me. I was more of the generalist than specific to know that this and this are joined together. Initially, I wanted to be a hairdresser, and so in fact, between
calm down. Hold on. Oh no. Was it the hairdressers in who inspired you so much?
No, that crowd ones.
That crowd ones.
And maybe because I actually don't have hair myself, so it was more of an aspiration and all that.
Where did that come from?
I have no idea. So you know what? After sixth form, whilst waiting to go to uni, I spent some time learning to wash hair, use the rollers, started shampoo and everything. Started learning to style before I got admission into university. So up to now, well, I haven't tried in a while, but I think
should I bring my producers Mirabelle and Anita?
We can try that. Yes, and so of course when I got out of school, also uni. So my dad said, okay, go and do law. You decided to go and do arithmetic and calculator. So
what course was that?
I did physics and computer science, double major.
Okay.
But because I didn't satisfy him, so he decided to demean the thing to say arithmetic and calculator. I couldn't be bothered. That's the relationship we had. So we could tease each other and do whatever, say all manner of funny stuff to each other.
Right.
And so what do you want to do? And then the only thing that came to mind, I wanted to be a trotro driver. And we were on the phone then. In fact, if he had the chance, he would have taken a gun, shot through the phone. You know. But what I was just trying to let him know, at that time, I had an uncle, Uncle Ben. He used to have buses, transport. He was into transport, and so that was the whole idea. But the concept was to drive myself, understand the whole principle and the whole business before going into it. And but I was lucky where then Mobitel picked us for the two of us from uni as management trainees. So he encouraged me to go and learn something, even if you want to run your own business. And that was among the best advices my dad gave me. If you even want to run your business, you need to go and learn how businesses are run before you can actually do it, and it makes it easier for you. At a certain point also, between sixth form and I wanted to I actually applied and got admission into the Air Force.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had to choose between the Air Force and uni. And I remember when my dad asked me, so this soldier thing you want to do, what is the meaning of it? I said, Daddy, I want to go and do coup. You know? And he said, you want to kill yourself? Come on. You know. So of course, just being silly and being myself. Yeah. And so that's how I started my career, Mobitel, and then started growing and had to focus on one phase of it, learning, working within the structured environment. So Mobitel. Then to Provision, where I was part of the team who did payroll. as a controller and accountant, IPPD2. From there, I joined Unilever.
Okay.
Unilever is like a university on its own, so you go and you learn so much, and then from there through UT, and then from UT I had to start my own business. So again, from there was a certain structure, a certain vision. I wanted to run my own business, but not knowing exactly what to do. But at least there was a vision that I had to do something for myself. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about your time in the corporate world, in Unilever, Provision, and all of that. What are some of the lessons that you picked up on along those times?
Well, in Provision, I think when we joined Provision as junior consultants, that's when NDC, that's Rollins, handed over to Kufuor, and so. There was this big project, and there were things that we had that came, migrating, learning how to structure information, learning how to follow through processes, and of course, because of the things that were happening around that time, you had to make sure that everything you were doing was documented. That there was a plan in the work that you were doing, and all those kind of things. Unilever was for me, I'll call the unearthing stage in my life, because I got the platform. I was lucky to have worked under one of the best managers that you find. I call him Senior Ebenezer Santi, the former MD for MTN.
Yes.
He was one of my bosses. Then I had people like Elihini that we had to work with, and some very great guys. And so you've seen their work, and so if you are their feet to learn, they make sure that you are mentored very well. And so I was given the opportunity to express myself, and that's what you get from places like Unilever. You have your ideas, you justify your ideas, you throw them in, you show why it is beneficial to implement, and all those kind of things. So it was the level where you start thinking deeply about every step, and planning, strategizing on your own, and all the like, to make sure that whatever you have to come up with is well thought through, and something that is viable. So especially in Unilever, was more of a structured environment. The systems were already there. We had to learn the systems and all those kind. Then I moved to UT.
But at Unilever, you won a global award.
Yes, something small. Something small. That was not,
thereabouts. I think it was the IT Gold Award.
Yes. Before that was the Most Enterprising Culture Award, where I think that was around 18 months after I joined. There was a project to automate the time and attendance system. And so, I took it upon myself, of course, being given the liberty to express yourself fully. So what can you get out of it? What kind of cost savings can we get out of the project, or whatever you've identified? We did it. I think by the time we finished implementation, we're on monthly basis saving the company around 73 million. And had to redeploy, because what the project was about, people coming in and clocking in, and then clocking out and all this. And then at that time it was manual, so there were people sitting who had to clock in and clock out, and so it got them redeployed to be more productive and all those kind of things. And so that was the first part. That was the Enterprising Culture Award. And then the Global Award on the best IT project, which was we built a solution together with the other operating companies across the Unilever project, Unilever institution, where we built a single database where all the products that Unilever manufactured were kept in. So around that time, when you need, let's say, Omo, and Nigeria has to produce for you, all they had to do was to go into the database and can find the whole spec. But it saved the company a lot of money, and Unilever thought it was quite a great innovation and all the time. So they decided to honor us. Yeah,
good stuff. And then you moved to UT.
Yes,
where you spent 10 years.
Yes.
Wow. Tell me about that journey.
Well, so Unilever gave the opportunity to learn in the structured system. And I remember when I was leaving Unilever to UT, the CEO then, Chairman Ishmael Johnson, called me and said, "What are you doing? How will you be leaving Unilever to go to UT? Who are they?" You know, that kind of thing, because UT was a startup around that time. But the beauty of or the reason, the whole idea behind joining UT was that, of course, again, I had the intention of starting my own stuff. And so now moving to UT, used to be Unique Trust Financial Services in 2005. This was a startup that was beginning to do well, was beginning to shine. And so it was a great opportunity to go and work in there to see how decisions are made to build your own business, to whatever. So though I was head of IT in UT, I still worked as if I tried to model it as if it was a separate business running on its own. So you go listen to all the big English they will speak in the business meetings, and then you come and try to fashion out how to apply it within your department and all the like. So it was in UT where the whole entrepreneurial skill actually was honed, and to enable me now be a full person. So that's how the whole career started. That's how I learned my trade to move out to start my own business. Yeah.
In these corporate setups, how easy or difficult was it to introduce digital innovation? Because you were mainly in the tech department, right? And of course, the fourth industrial revolution, like we mentioned earlier, is still at the beginning stages. There's still the resistance, adaptation and resistance matrix now. How easy was it to introduce these innovations?
It was difficult. It was very difficult. And especially for a place like UT where loans in less than 48 hours. And so systems might be put in place to be able to, because UT had already given an SLA, a service level agreement, to the customer, that when you come in less than 48 hours, we'll give you a response. So now the objective for me was to make sure that we could do that in less than 48 hours. And so you had to build system. And, technology, apart from the physical computers that you buy, most of the things are intangible. You can see them. And I remember one of the first project that I had to implement was the wide area network. And we spent a lot of money, and then we went to staff there, and somebody came and said, "Yeah, you guys, you've spent X amount of money to build where is the wide area? We can't see it, we can't feel it." So it was something that money that was, it's from their perspective, it felt like money that was being spent or blown away without anything to show for it. So convincing people, now you are challenged with change, how to manage change. You're challenged with how to get people to move things from conception to really living it. The computer can do this, and sometimes change also comes with fear. So the first thing is that will this implementation actually get me to lose my job and all those kind of things. So it's a cocktail of so many things that you have to deal with at a certain point to be able to build the technology that the business requires to move. And technology was part of the strategy for UT, and so it was in the core of virtually everything that we were doing, and the pressure was on. And then now when people started adopting to it and beginning to see the benefits, then we had to start doing things in less than 48 hours ourselves. When the computer is needed, the computer must be brought in less than 48 hours and all that. But it was fun. It's quite tension packed, but again, the process helped in building and developing me to really see and grow and mature.
And you decided that, okay, now I'm done with working for people. What made you make that move?
Okay, the move actually should have happened in 2008. That was when the whole idea of payments came, and it was a bit, I don't know if it's coincidental or fate that had it, because my project in the university was on e-commerce.
Okay.
And the biggest question I was asked in my project defense was that, how are people going to pay? And so quickly, there was another mate of mine who also had built an e-banking kind of thing. I said, okay, we'll use the banking thing to pay for it. So just quickly as a student to get by with a solution. And so by 2008, I started thinking seriously about this whole payments thing. But unfortunately, around that time, the technology was not ready to be able to start taking some of the things that we were doing. So the other bit was that was when UT Financial Services also bought the bank. And so there was a new excitement to deal with now, opportunity to learn banking and all those kind of things. So I had to hold back a bit and then work through the UT, and also got the opportunity to learn new things about banking and all the like. So we held back until 2014 when I just thought, well, now is the time. I think there's nothing new. You can't be ready at any time, so there should be some time to jump and start getting to focus and learn the rest of it on the road. And so that's when I decided to move in August 2014.
And how was it at the time?
Well, initially it was exciting. I'm going to have my own business, yeah. And, there is all this concept that if you run your own business, you can sleep at any time and wake up at any time.
Yes, absolutely.
Within 2 weeks, I realized actually
it was a myth.
It was a complete myth. You had to decide. You had the future of other people in your hands. You had a vision, you had a mission, you had a plan. So many things, that moving parts that have to be put together. And so, it started in excitement, but then when the novelty wore off and then you had to get to real work, then you realize that the people who you were misbehaving around when you were working with them and all the like had gone through a lot to be able to have their businesses realized. It's not been easy, but it's been, I must say, man, quite fulfilling. Yeah.
What did you set out to do with Koba?
Okay. The whole idea again started way back with my friend Rainbow. He was a scrap dealer, and I remember one of the evenings I went to him, and he had trunks, like school trunks those days, filled with money. So I said, why are you keeping all this money? I said, the kind of business we do. People come in, they have their goods that have to be purchased, and if you don't have the cash ready, then you lose that business. So the bank and all those days, bank will open and close around 12:30 or 2 o'clock and all the like. So it was always stuck there. But the real effect actually came when I lost my dad, and so I was in Accra. We had to renovate the house in Angloga because he wanted to be buried in Angloga. And so my cousin was doing the renovation, and so very often he would call and say he needs money. So I'll go to Stanchart, my bank, go and take ATM, go use the ATM, take money out, and then go and join the queue to put the money in the mobile money and send to him. And a few occasions you would be in the queue for 30 minutes and all the like, and then you get to the person they say, oh, I only have 500 cedis. So time wasted, for Christ's sake. Why can't somebody just build a solution that can move the money directly from the bank to into a mobile money wallet? And so, well, of course, I was busy around that time focusing on my dad's funeral, so I just swept it off. But after the funeral, again, I was taking a stroll, and I saw a long queue, and then this thing, and I asked myself, why can't someone just get this thing resolved? And then the first thing that hit me was, who is better placed to get this thing done? Why don't you pick it up and get it done? So then I was all excited and everything, quickly spent the whole night trying to put all the things together, draw all the links and everything. And that is what drove Koba. The whole idea was to make and simplify the process of payment. And so we spent today, for example, hours, and around the time that we had started, to go and deposit money into your bank account. It could take you 2 hours. Meanwhile, the transaction itself is less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the transaction itself is you standing in front of the teller, handing over the money to the teller entering the details, and then handing over your pay-in slip for you. 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But then we'll spend so many hours just trying to do a 2-minute thing. And so the whole idea was how to focus on the business itself, the depositing, the transaction itself, and pick off the time so that time can be used for something more valuable. And so that is what or the philosophy behind starting Koba, to see how we can build a solution, or we can continue to build solutions that will save people time, get people to focus on the things that are very important to them, and then hand over these transactions and focus on the real things.
I just got a message from Millie who says, Lexis, I'm enjoying the conversation. I am too. I'm glad you are. Thank you so much. You can also send us a WhatsApp message on 055-1111-997. So this is really cool. Around the time, that's 2014 thereabouts, most of the players in the fintech space were foreign companies, wasn't it? Or even now?
Well, we still are. We still are competing against a lot of foreign companies with very, very deep pockets. And but you just have to fight. You just have to find your space. You have to identify the uniqueness of your service and your offering, and place yourself accordingly to be able to get to where you want to get to. It's not an easy road.
100% Ghanaian company?
Koba is 100% Ghanaian owned. Yeah.
Right. What's really the biggest challenge in this space?
It's to be honest with you, it's a general Ghanaian thing where we don't want to see each other successful. From the top, our peers and those below us, or at whatever level. So you see fellow Ghanaians trying to put impediments in the path of people who are trying to work something for themselves. And so we struggle a bit, a lot. And but it's a national orientation I think we need to work on, where the success of the people around you also brings you success. And I don't want to go into it, but that is some of the things that we are suffering from today. You know, where if we had a lot more successful Ghanaians, people who had ventured into businesses, we had supported them rather than put impediments in their way to and then some of the challenges we are facing today wouldn't have been there. You know, you go, the regulators are frustrating you, your peers are trying to undermine you, the people you employ are trying to steal from you. Everybody is just trying to work against. Meanwhile, they're all benefiting from it. You know, they are all. It is something that will make us all better. But then we end up frustrating the people who really want to do something and actually pull us along. It's a Ghanaian thing that I think we need to collectively work on to bring success to Ghanaians. When all the foreign companies we are talking about, when they make their profits, they take the money to their countries. You know, and so the money can only be left here if we ensure that the average Ghanaian is successful, and so we keep the money here. Yeah. And so it's a Ghanaian thing. We just don't want to see our fellows successful, and so we find anything possible to frustrate the endeavors of people who are trying to do something and create a future for ourselves.
Well, if there's anything you're going to take out from this conversation, it's probably the fact that you need to be an enabler. You need to actually help the next Joe who's working hard to create some value. You need to help them succeed, or whichever way that you can help, let their lives be better and let their work succeed. Probably you can start by telling the story of Koba, sharing with it other people so that they can also use the product, right? And help grow Koshi's company.
Well, I think, as I said, the objective is to save people time. That is the way we can also help. And so if you
I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the one listening.
Yes, I know. and I'm just adding to it that our little help is to give you a lot of time to do the things that are of value to you.
Yeah.
And so if you have to spend 3 hours to go and deposit money into your bank account, we make that happen in seconds so that you have that 3 hours. If it's you have to study, if it's extra skill you have to pick up, and all those kind of things, you should be able to do that. our contribution is to enable you have time to do the things that matter.
Okay, lots of messages coming in. Ifukoshi, it's always a pleasure listening to you. You really inspired me during my childhood days. My mentor, that's from Nana Boafu. Much love. Hi, Lexis. Koshi is a great guy. I'm proud of him. It's from Leila Pinto. All right, Leila. Thank you so much for your message. And Lexis, I am Ket, and I've known Koshi for a while. He's a great guy with a passion for results. Given a chance, he'll become the Elon Musk of Ghana. Oh, wow.
That's a big call.
that's a huge one. That's interesting. Is he going to charge us for a blue tick on cover? I'm really enjoying the program, and I'm proud of Nelson from Lennox Addo, former UT staff. Some of your former colleagues are also reaching out.
Thank you.
Kofi says, I'm really enjoying the interview. All right, that's really good to know. Thank you so much. I mean, you're a great guy, and I love the story. We're wrapping up now because Uncle Ken is going to be on the radio very shortly. But what's the biggest lesson your life and all the experiences has taught you?
Well, I think as that life is like a soup.
Light or groundnut?
whatever soup you want it to be. You see, a soup is made up of so many ingredients. There are the sweet, the sour, the bitter, even the mute taste. But in life, all this, the hardships, the good times, the bad times, and all those kind of things come together to build your personality. So even when you are going through the tough times, there are lessons. And to be honest with you, we only grow when we go through the tough patches. That is where we learn. That is when we are shaped up. Remember, even in the Bible, it says iron sharpeneth iron. So it is when you are being rubbed that you actually grow. So the biggest lesson is for me not to take anything for granted and complain about anything. Pick the lessons out of that. Pick what is being taught out of whatever you are going. Even the good times, there are lessons to learn out of the good times, and put it all together to build a great life for yourself. As it's a soup, it's still on fire, so it's at the end of the cooking that we'll really know whether the soup was.
Right after this place, we do go Agba Mami or have you do
to see the soup.
No, man, it's been great hanging out with you. I think you're great. You're awesome. And if you're listening to us, it's a good time to probably get Koba on your phone and use it for all your transactions. It's it's actually one of the best platforms that you could use for all your payments as well. Very easy, smooth transactions and all. The team would be at the Elwak Sports Stadium on 26th of
That's
November.
right, yeah.
Yes, so make sure you come and interact with them, or you can follow and look them up and find out more about them. Koshi's a great guy. I'm glad you came by today. CEO of Koba.
And I hope we'll be playing football on Saturday.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, you know, me and my goals and things, that never come. Charlie, thank you.
Yes,
so
thanks
much
very
for
much,
coming.
Lexis.
God bless you.
Yes.
And my regards to the team.
Yes, I'll
as
let
well
everyone know.
at Koba.
Thank you very much.
I'm Lexis Bill. It's been a great evening. If you missed any part of this conversation, you might want to go on to our Facebook page. The video is there. You can share it. You can relive it and listen to all the amazing nuggets that Koshi said with us here on Joy 99.7 FM. Uncle Ken will be on your radio very shortly, right after the news. Welcome, Uncle Ken. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Lexis.
And I hope you're well today.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I'm looking forward to your playlist because the grounds are a little wet. So, Uncle Ken, do your thing. Yes, great weather. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm Lexis Bill on behalf of my team, Adam Naite, Philip Nye, Abeku Sankofi, Anita Tem, Robert Johnson, and Chris PK. I say thank you and have